All right, Joe. So let's talk a little bit about out-of-state travel because there's a lot of guys that just don't do it.
Yeah, and I don't really. Well, I do understand it, and I don't. But when I was just starting to waterfowl, it was like a very intimidating thing, especially when you're not like experienced in waterfowl.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, that's a great way to become experienced is just seeing how people do it in other areas and whatever. But I have enjoyed out-of-state travel more than in-state. Honestly, it's incredible.
Why do you think there is like a stigma behind like kind of being concerned about traveling to go hunt or not doing it? Because I remember, I'll never forget, I don't know how old we were, Joe, when the first time, like 18, maybe 19, 18 maybe, when you went to North Dakota with some buddies.
Okay.
And I remember I didn't hunt then, but I remember you telling me that you had gone to North Dakota to hunt.
Was that Riley's first trip?
Nope.
Is that right after I
Maybe.
got the dog? I think so, because we were living together.
Yeah. Anyway, you went out there, and I remember, like, you telling me that, and I remember being like, fuck, dude, you're driving all the way to North Dakota to shoot some ducks, dude?
Yeah.
Which, crazy, but yeah. I remember that being crazy, and I remember thinking that it was pretty wild that some dudes were willing to drive that far.
Yeah.
And, obviously, I wasn't really in any way hooked on hunting, any of that stuff. What's the problem?
I kicked the camera.
Right. Yeah.
So sorry.
Oh, I didn't even think it was a thing. You just do it so much. I'm just used to it. Can it still see me?
You're good.
Okay, sounds good. But you're 100% correct, dude. Like some of the coolest experiences, some of the things that have made me fall the most in love with duck hunting is being able to travel and see it in different places because it's such a different experience everywhere you go.
Yeah. Well, and like well before I was really intact with social media, I grew up hunting in different places.
I think you mean in touch, but I like it.
What did I say?
Intact.
Oof. Yeah.
No, you're good.
Before social media was a thing for me.
Yeah.
Which I think was like 2014, 2015. Somewhere like that is when I started Instagram, which is kind of wild. I put a boom lift up, for like one of my first pictures. So stupid. And, but I remember getting invited somewhere, and I don't remember why they invited me, because this is like pre-Midwest Flyways.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, I'll go. And I was like so freaked out and intimidated, like, what do you want me to bring? They're like, nothing, we got everything. And I'm like, I'm literally getting guided, And it was the coolest thing ever. And I don't even think we shot that many birds, but just going to a place and just hanging out and seeing how they did things, because I grew up in a very set mindset on how you set a spread and how you call and how you do everything. And I honestly just remember watching what they did and then mimicking them. You know what I mean?
I've learned more for sure hunting out of state with other people than, I have, I think, just being around home and hunting. And the biggest difference is just everything that they do in different places, depending on where you're at. But the mindset is like so different from your mindset and the way that you operate when you're trying to shoot birds at home. So it's such a crazy thing that just going to a new place, they could literally be using like none of the gear that you use. They could be putting out like a quarter of what you put out, or they could be putting out 10 times as much as you put out.
Right.
The work to get to where they're going to hunt could either be way easier than the work you do or way fucking harder than the work you do to get to birds. And that's just been so eye-opening to me.
It's usually harder.
It usually is, man, especially guys that hunt public. Like, dude, the first time we went and hunted with Wade, I know we've told the story, but, dude, I was in absolute culture shock, man.
Oh, I was not in my comfort zone whatsoever. He's like, get in the boat. Come on, let's go. I'm like, whoa, dude.
Yeah.
It is 4 a.m.
Right.
Why are you yelling at me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, man. Yeah, just get your fucking shit in there. Let's go. I'm like, okay. Shit. And then we get out there, and I'm like watching like ducks work, and they're not coming in. We shoot a couple, and he's like, sorry, that was such a bad hunt. I was like, that was so fucking cool.
Yeah.
This entire experience, and like especially the boat ride in, all these trees, like like, whoa, I could never navigate this myself. It
Yeah,
would take
man.
me years to understand how to navigate a boat through these areas that you've been hunting for 20 years.
Right.
But the one that really comes to mind, like hunting out of state and just how they do things differently, was the first time we went to Bobby Guys, and we loaded up so many decoys for a water spread for that little private.
With the Argo?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so many decoys
Bro.
with the Argo.
How many
And
do you
we
think we
said-
put out there?
I don't know.
7 dozen?
I was gonna say at least 60, and I'm like, whoa, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And then we get out there, and he's like, here's how we're going to set the blind. I'm like, okay, that's a little close to the water's edge.
Right on the edge.
And he's like, no, it's good. And he's like, in the trailer, there's a shitload of pine tree bushes or like pine tree branches. I'm like, what are we going to do with those? And he's like, we're going to put them on the blind. I'm like, it looks nothing like the stuff here. He goes, all that matters is that you don't have like a shape to the blind. And I'm like, wow, that makes so much sense. And I learned so much about Bobby Guys. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
And just the chaos in the morning of like, that guy lives an hour away and he's here at 3 a.m. and we're all starting to get ready at 4, but he had to get up at 3 to get there at 4. Now we're all scrambling. You put this in his trailer. He's got the decoys. That guy's got the blinds. This guy's got the Argo, and we're all caravanning, And one guy got there first to like open up all the gates, and then one guy's behind us to close all the gates so that we can set up decoys in time. I'm like, this is like a frickin' production, dude.
Right.
This is an insane production.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. First of all, you really know what you're doing. And then second of all, I was like, we have it so good.
No doubt.
In Minnesota, it's like, let's put 3 dozen decoys in the damn boat and then go out there, set up our spread, and then just move the boat 100 yards, 50 yards.
Right.
50 yards around this tree because all the ducks are coming from one direction.
Yeah, it is crazy. It is crazy what guys do to be able to hunt in other places. That said, just like you said with the blinds, right? That is something that has been insane to me because other places too, I will never forget when we went to Foul Feathers.
Yeah.
And the first day there, we literally...
Which is in Illinois, by the way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Literally had an A-frame sitting in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
And decently grassed,
Yeah.
I want to say.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not kidding you, man. I had never expected in my life that you could put a decently grassed A-frame, 2 of them, side by side in a field, drive trucks through those fields, in and out, making for sure tracks right up to the blinds. Remember they brought pizza? Like right out to the blind.
Right.
And then that afternoon, we shot a 12-man limit of geese.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I was shocked. We had never done that, I hadn't yet. I had not yet put out an A-frame or more than one A-frame just smack dab in the middle of the field and had been so cavalier about like driving in or out like with the truck right up to a blind.
Yeah.
And then we shot all those geese and I was like, wow.
Holy shit.
Holy shit.
And it was so not rural. It was so metro.
My gosh, we were in the middle of a city.
We were in the middle of a city, and I'm like, whoa. But I grew up like, hey, you know what? There's no tire tracks. We take a canoe. We don't want to scare the ducks. We don't want to do this. Like, we were stealthy setting up as when I was a kid. And it's like, okay, this is how you have to be with ducks.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go out there, and people are just jamming on turtle boxes, and they're just doing this and that. And I'm like, are we going to kill birds today? And we do.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, damn. Oh, aren't you concerned about tire tracks going out to the spread? They're like, no. I'm like, really?
That's how I felt. When he drove that Tacoma right out to the blind with pizza, I was like, okay,
we're
that's
going to
not
get in
good.
trouble.
That's not good this afternoon.
Yeah. We're not going to shoot
let's
shit.
drive up to the field with the A-frames in the middle of it?
Right.
Okay.
But, like, I guess the thing that the reason why I wanted to talk about this on this 10-Minute Tuesday was reach out to people on Instagram, man, and Facebook, and just be like, hey, let's trade a hunt. Like, if you're in your 20s or a teenager, that is the time to go out and experience all that stuff and make those lifelong friends, because Cal and I are so fortunate with Midwest Flyways. We've just met so many cool people.
Yeah.
And I am just beyond blessed that I can call people in Nebraska, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, like anywhere it feels like, because of social media, and just be like, hey, can I bring my kid out there next year? And they're like, absolutely, come on out. But because we've hunted together for 3 years and we've both made an effort to stay in contact and traded hunts or whatever it is, we just enjoy each other's company. But use social media to go places and travel, because the one place that comes to mind that is just mind-blowing is Scottsbluff, Nebraska, at Angel Wing Outfitters. The views there was insane, and the amount of birds there is even crazier. And then also RA Legacy in Montana. I mean, the views there and the birds there and the people there are just like, my soul yearns to go back.
Well, it's crazy because you're mentioning multiple different places, but then my mind's just going to like a bunch of other plations that we've been, dude. I mean, Arkansas,
there's
with Logan,
too many. There's
Louisiana.
Too many.
I'll never forget the first time we drove out in timber. That was my, hunting with Wade, first time I'd ever been in timber. Yeah. And just the ride out, like you said, that was crazy, man. I remember us getting on the plane after and being like, just seeing it, dude, so worth it. So cool. It was just insane. Seeing it. It's crazy.
It was so much fun.
So absolutely get out, meet people. Don't be afraid to introduce yourself. Try to, like Joey said, swap a hunt. But all the places you go, you will learn something. And it will make you a better duck hunter. Guaranteed.
Yeah, but like go travel and experience shit, because one, you're probably going to find a lifelong friend, because we're all just dickheads trying to go and shoot birds. So like you already have a lot in common. And so like some of my best friends in the last 10 years are because of duck and goose hunting. And
yeah, this is so funny cool. Too, because I put a post on Instagram that Annie and I are pregnant.
Yeah, you put a poll. You put a poll on Instagram that you guys are pregnant?
I put a post up.
Oh, a post. Gotcha.
I put a post on Instagram that we're having a kid. And
congrats.
Thank you. All of the people, though, like almost all the people that commented on that post, duck hunters, dude. People I know through hunting.
Like, congrats.
It's pretty cool, man. Yeah. I mean, just in general, though, just like that you said, we do share a passion that is like, it's a legitimate passion that connects all of us. And it's an easy way to make a lot of friends.
Right.
So
I had so many, Roy and I got married the year prior, but we had our wedding reception this past year.
Yeah.
You were there. You gave a hell of a speech. And so many duck and goose hunters came from all over the country, and I was just like, I felt so good. Like, it was so cool. Like, a lot of them I had only known for 1 to 3 years, but in those 2 to 3 days you spend together hunting, it's like, damn, I feel like I've known you for 30 years.
Get to know people, man.
I feel like I've known you my entire life, and they're like, you know what? I will drive from Montana for 2 days to come to your wedding for 1 day, and then drive back home so hungover.
Right.
Norman Tate.
No shit.
Norman Tate, so hungover.
Great dudes.
Love those guys.
Yeah.
But no, use social media, travel, go hang out with people.
Do something good with social media.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go meet people.
It's fun.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll talk to you soon.